this week's edition of the BarberBlitz.com. And it's got me, Jim Casey, the host of the show. I got my buddy over here, Glenn Cheeks Keller. We got a short show tonight, kind of quick and noticed. We haven't been here for a long time. Once again,
forever.
We still are working the ins and outs of a nice schedule to run for us to get this show operational. Once again,
a ruly crowd here with that Eagle loss. Just not a happy crowd.
Well, let's start. We'll kick it off. Eagles. When we left the Eagles, I think the last show we did was mid-season, and the Eagles were up and down.
Mike Vick was the quarterback.
No, I think he was done by that time.
Was quarterback.
Was he?
He was good. They should have kept him quarterback.
Right. Well, we obviously it looks like we found the quarterback. For at least for at least some form of a run.
Yes, no doubt.
As an Eagles fan, I know you're not the Eagles fan, but we did knock out your Cowboys last week to get in.
Tight game.
And their games that build character now.
Yes.
Everyone's looking at this. I don't know if you look at this, the Eagles' loss as a total loss. I mean, I still think the team got 10 wins, which
tremendous.
No one thought they were getting 10 wins.
No, I agree.
You found a quarterback. You had the leading rusher. One of the top receivers in the league, and now wants money.
Well,
right away.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, bad timing for Deshaun.
Yeah, you could wait a little bit.
But it was, you want to go.
You got a coach that seems to know, to be able to handle it. Maybe you got a little out-coached in the playoff game.
I don't.
But I think there's a lot of positives coming out of this season. You can't think of a lot of negatives. But you're going into this game, and everyone talks about the offense. Well, these defenses in the playoffs are built to beat these offenses, and these coaches sit there and they wait, and they have weeks to prepare and figure out what's going on, and your boy Rob Ryan did a pretty good job.
Well, I think the Eagles kind of out-thought themselves, maybe listened to the media too much, so worried about Jimmy Graham. They were running a 4-2-5. If you look at it, they only have two linebackers.
Right, and
the running back was out. And all of a sudden, Ingram has the best game of his.
Well, all of a sudden they can run.
All of a sudden,
but because they were double covering the two best receivers, Colston and Graham. Trying to shut them guys down, not get beat by the long one, and then basically they just pounded it right up the middle. Because Sproles had a good game, and then obviously Ingram had a great game. And they rushed for 185 yards.
Yeah.
So as much as you want to say stuff about this team losing the game by a field goal. You got to look at the defense. Once we were one stop away from going to the next game.
Oh, there's no doubt. He walked off the field, like everyone's saying, with the lead. But, when you look at his stats, the Saints led in everything. All right?
Oh, sure.
First downs and all. I didn't even realize that.
I just didn't think they came out flat, maybe a little nervous, or they thought that weather was going to get to them.
Yeah. You know what really hurts the Eagles is when they do a 3-and-out. And they had 2 3-and-outs the first quarter. Second quarter they had 1. The third quarter they had 2 3-and-outs. It seems like they have to get some first downs to get in a rhythm. And then the defense, Do you
think they didn't run enough early on to get the rhythm?
It wasn't there. The line was not opening anything. McCoy was hit. He was handed the ball, and he couldn't even do anything. He was getting hit.
Right.
And, that really hurt him. Having McCoy there. And Foles brought him back, though. He threw a nice pass to Riley.
Right, they came back in the second half. They had a couple little bonehead plays, like the kick into the Carmichael kicking in the punt into the end zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff, just some of the stuff that comes through, the missed field goal, Well,
that hurt.
Yeah.
The missed field goal hurt. But, the Saints, when they got that ball, what did they pass, 2 times? They ran right down the field. They got the horse collar tackle. The kick was in the end zone. But, what are you going to do? He took it out of the end zone. And Sproles ran nice. He suckered everyone in. And Kerry Williams went right over. And he had the horse collar him. I think he would have been gone.
Right. It was better to get the 15-yard penalty.
Yeah. And then they just ran. They kept running the ball. I couldn't believe it. 3, 4, 5.
And I'm not one, you think of it, it's all hindsight. Like, at the end of the game, should you let them score to get the ball back?
If you stop,
one stop, you get it, you win the game.
And the Hartley, this is their third kicker, I think, right?
Right.
Oh, Graham, right? Who did they have? Graham, right? Yeah, Hartley's the one they cut. This is their third kicker.
Right.
I think their third different punter. Their kicking game was a mess, the Saints. So, if he would have missed it, it would have been good. But like you said, that Eagles, when they missed that field goal, that was a bad miss. They needed that. They needed that field goal.
Right.
As you can see, every point counted in that game. You know.
Yeah, every possession that you can score on, you had to get it in.
But there was one in the trenches that game. I mean, the Eagles weren't blocking well, and they were getting pressure. They getting shoved back. Like how many 3rd and 1? They had 2 3rd and 1s, and he didn't even get to the line of scrimmage twice. McCoy. Right. You know, because the pressure, the whole line was moving. So that was the deal with that. But it was a hard-fought game. I mean, the Eagles have nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, 26-24 loss to the New Orleans Saints 2 years ago. We're winning the Super Bowl, you know.
Well, some people had them going all the way. And who knows?
And you're losing to a great quarterback who we didn't give him a shot to beat us. They basically beat us in another way.
Yeah, Drew Brees had one of his worst games.
Right.
But he still managed to work the offense. And Payton's a good coach too. You know what I mean?
Sure, it shows. Obviously, it shows how his coaching is because he goes from a 4-win season without him there to total disarray, players upheaval, and gets a new defensive coordinator and takes over. You know, but a lot now. If you look forward to the future for the Eagles, I mean, you have answered some questions. You're going to need some help on the defense, though. I mean, I still think you can't when your quarterback leaves you with the lead late in the 4th quarter, you got to have a hole. You know.
I would address the safety situation, but when I look through the league, everyone needs a safety. All right, Dallas' safety stinks. There's playoff teams to safety. The only people that have good safety seem to be Seattle. All right, you know what I mean? It's a tough position because and that's where I would address something. I would get something in safety, and of course another pass rusher.
You need just a strict 3-4 pass rusher.
I think your linebackers are all right. I think Kendrick came. He's a pleasant surprise this year.
Right.
And Trent Cole. I think even though everybody was bitching that he didn't have the pass rush he had, but I don't think he had that bad of a year, Trent Cole.
No, I think that you got Kendricks and you got.
They might need a little more beef on that.
Connor Barwin and
Connor Barwin did a good job.
DeMarco Ryans both had great years.
Yeah, DeMarco Ryan,
especially for all those two guys playing out of the system and changing.
Right, with a new
adjusted
system.
Well.
Now Fletcher Cox and I don't know what else they have on that line. They have another guy, Joe. I forget his name. They might need a little more beef there, which you can pick that up probably.
Right.
5th round pick. Get something to clog something. I mean, that's where I would go.
Maybe a kicker. Obviously going to have to draft maybe another quarterback because you're going to lose Vic as your backup.
Vic sounds like he's leaving from what they said. He wants to leave.
Yeah. You got to get rid of. You got to axe that controversy anyway. But
I wouldn't want him looking over my shoulder. But I mean, he's still a good back. I mean, if he wants to stay, I would keep him.
Right.
He didn't cause any trouble. I didn't hear him.
No, he played a good role, and he even said the other guy earned the job.
Yeah.
And I think he might need a kicker. I don't know
if you draft a kicker, you pick up a kicker.
Right.
I don't know.
Kickers, I put it on the priority list. I don't think it's a top priority.
No.
Because Alex Henry's percentage of made field goals is actually pretty good over the years.
But who's gonna want to get paid here now? Now McCoy,
Deshaun Jackson,
he's coming up. Jackson and McCoy are going to want to get paid.
Right.
And of course, Foles.
Well, Jackson's contract's 3 more years, but it's non-guaranteed money.
Right.
So it's the old T.O. contract. They can cut you because he's due $10 million. So I think what you have to do is you have to try to get in there and negotiate the contract and get the guaranteed money in there.
Well, this is where the problems exist. When these guys want their money, like McCoy's going to want his money, Jackson's going to want his money.
Well, you know what happens when Jackson wants his money, too.
Right.
It's a total distraction for the whole season.
I know. And then there isn't as much money to go around. You know what I mean?
Right.
I watch, good teams. This is where the problems exist, and it's starting already. I mean, Jackson, he don't even leave the locker room. He's talking about he wants more money.
Right. He ain't even packing stuff up yet. Well, I mean, wait till a couple weeks down the road.
He had a good year, but
they even said they interviewed Chip Kelly, and they asked about Foles, and they're already digging in. He says he's not his quarter. He might not be his quarterback next year and stuff like that. I was like, just let it rest. Let's leave on a positive note here before we totally tear this thing apart again.
And the media says Foles is making $600,000.
So then he's gonna want to get paid.
What a steal!
Starting quarterbacks.
And the agent loves to hear that.
Yeah.
Why don't you lock him in? Now he has another good year next year. Anything similar to this year, he's going to want his money before.
Sure. So There's
no doubt.
But then you lose $10 million comes off the cap from Vic's contract this year because he's out. I mean, maybe you try to figure a way to funnel some of it back to Foles and start working on it. But like you said, you got to take care of McCoy because he's pretty much one of the top 5 players in the league now. You know,
that's what happens. They're going to want to get paid, and I think isn't Williams up this year too? I think wasn't it a 1-year deal with that quarterback?
Kerry Williams?
Yeah, he's going to want. He had a good year.
Yeah.
Everybody bitched about him all preseason.
Well, because he didn't want to come to the OTAs.
Okay. Hey, look, you don't have to do OTAs if you cover the guy at your receiver.
Right. Then we don't care. And if you have a good season, we don't really care.
And there you are. Nobody worries about that anymore. It's what you produce. But I think Chip Kelly is a winner. Yeah. I don't think he's a loser. They're probably going to start picking some people from the staff if they have another good year next year.
Right, Billy Davis will be another guy. He's
Billy Davis. I mean,
I'm sure he'll be hot, if not this year, next year.
Yeah, I mean, I see the names they're throwing around here, Zimmer and all these. Mike Zimmer, I don't think. I mean, the Bengals defense didn't impress me. I mean, I guess they were all right, but he's going everywhere.
Right. Well, why don't we take a quick break? Okay. We're going to grab a Bud Light, and we'll come back and we'll finish up with the rest of the NFL playoffs. We'll be right back with some more Barroom Blitz.
Started drinking and got real tight. I blew each and all my friends. Felt so good, I had to blow.